In this video I'm going to show you something that will help you play faster than ever before. So let's talk about what you really want to do to really get the speed notching up to speeds that you've never been to before. So this is something called speed bursts, and I've been teaching this for years, and this is one of the big ones that really helps getting things rolling. So if we take a lick like this, and instead of just practicing it at a moderate tempo and bumping up the metronome by a couple beats per minute when you feel like it's absolutely perfect and you can play it like a graceful ballerina. With speed bursts, what we're doing is we're forcing ourselves to work at a higher rate in an area that we're not used to working in. And this is often where a lot of the magic happens, because you find that your hands start doing things which you didn't realize they were doing before, and they do these things in order to get the results. But whilst you're playing at moderate tempos, you're focusing too much on your form, on the way everything looks and the way everything feels, and so a lot of the time you're holding stuff back without you realizing it. But when you go to the ultra zone, where all the high speed is, that's when things start happening without your input, and then you start getting more results there. Anyway, so let's say you can do this pretty comfortably up to about 140 beats per minute, for example. Doesn't really matter, I'm just using this as an example. And you've got your click 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're pretty comfortable there. And you get to an area between, I don't know, between 145 and 150, where you can still kind of use the same form, but it's really struggling to keep up with the metronome. In order to keep up with it, you're really finding that you're tensing up, things aren't happening quite right, and you go back to 140, 142, and you keep just hoping that things are going to change. Well, what you would do here is you'd actually bump it up to somewhere like 160, 165, even 170. Hey, let's be outrageous, why not, right? And you go to an area where you don't normally go to, and this is where you do a speed burst. And a speed burst is short. It has to be short, and the reason it's short is because you're going at a speed which is uncomfortable for you at first. So you can't do it for very long, so that's why it's short. The other reason it's short is because it gives you time to recuperate in between each burst. And you want to recuperate mentally, so you can gather your thoughts for what's going to happen next. Because if you don't do that, you're going to start getting tangled up and it's all going to start falling to pieces, right? Because everything's moving faster than you're used to. So we give ourselves that time to recuperate. So that's why we only do bursts, and we don't keep going like this until everything starts falling apart, okay? So we do bursts. So let's say you go up to 160, 165, and you can you set your metronome going 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can do 4 of those maybe. Maybe you can't do 4, maybe you can only do 2, and then the third rep you fall out of time with the metronome gets away from you. Well, then what you would do there is bring that down to maybe 155, right? And then see if you can do 4. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4. And this lick is good because it's 16th notes. 16th notes are easy to count, and you can end on the highest note on a downstroke, which is nice and easy. So wherever you can go to, which is higher than your comfort zone, but enables you to do at least 3 good repetitions. You want about 3 or 4, and then bring it back down to an area which is lower than where you went to, but higher than your comfort zone. So let's say your comfort zone is 140, and you've just gone up to 165 or 170. You've banged out little reps like that, and do a few of those. Take as many breaks as you need to in between. It doesn't matter how long you wait for. You don't have to wait for 1, 2, 3, 4 and then go again. You could wait for as long as you need. Shake your hands out, gather your thoughts, and then go again. And then drop it back down to somewhere like 145, and then see how you get on. Because you might find that your picking technique changed, and you were doing something which was a lot more effective at the high end of the tempos. And then when you get back to 140, you're actually using a different hand position maybe, or a different technique. So that's the way to do speed bursts, right? You start putting yourself under pressure, and doing this gradually. You dip your toe into the deep end and you do manageable little bursts, okay? That's how you do that, and you keep pushing that top end. So for the first day, you might find you can do speed bursts at 165. A few days later, you might be able to do speed bursts at 175. A week later, you might be doing speed bursts at 180 or 190, right? And then you keep going back down to your lower level where your comfort zone is, and you'll find that that starts going up. So your comfort zone was 140, a week later you might find it's 150 or 155, 160, blah, 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 blah. That's how it goes. So speed bursts, it's essential. It's really, really useful. That's one of the biggest tools in the speed building arsenal. So that's it for this episode. I'll see you next week, so be there.